Facebook family to Facebook Live. It's been a service. It's been something this morning. But anyway, praise the Lord. Hallelujah. We're in the second part of a brand new series that we're teaching up until Easter called Honey, I Love You. I Just Don't Understand You. So this is week 2, and we're going to pick up. We go with me, if you would, in your Bibles to Genesis chapter 26. Now, I'm not going to go back and do a full review of this, but we started this off, and I'm going to finish this today, and then we'll go into some other things next week. But we started off talking about relational wells. Relational wells. Say relational wells.
Relational wells.
And so we began to talk last week about how each individual, each person that you meet, each person that you know is literally a well. I'm going to go back and I'm going to prove that in a minute. But each of us, every one of us, you, me, every one of us included, is a well. All right? Genesis chapter 26 and verse 6 says, "So Isaac dwelt in Gerar. And the men of the place asked about his wife, and he said, 'She is my sister,' for he was afraid to say, 'She is my wife.'" Let's drop down. Let's drop down to verse 17. "Then Isaac departed from there and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. And Isaac dug again the wells of water which they had dug in the days of Abraham." Now, we're doing something. We're showing how, as human beings, sometimes we tend to redig the wells that have already been dug. And what we mean by that is that people many times jump from relationship to relationship, but it's the same kind of person. But they keep expecting to get different results, even though they keep choosing the same kind of person. We said last week, sometimes a woman she's been used to a certain type of a guy, and maybe he's been a roughneck. Y'all know what a roughneck is? A roughneck, a hood, from the hood, a thug, whatever you want to call them. And man, it's some of, because women have always liked bad boys, right? Okay. Most women have always liked, even if they, to a certain degree, they had this dude, he was a bad boy, and there was just something about him that was appealing, right? See, some of y'all don't want to admit it. Y'all sitting here, she's smiling because she like, yeah, all right. But most of y'all like, nah, not me. You know you like the bad boy. And so then you get saved, and you like that flavor. Then you get saved, and then what you want, you still like the same flavor, but now you want the bad boy to be sanctified. Or you want the roughneck to be sanctified. So now he's saved. He loves Jesus. He's born again. He's filled with the Spirit. But he hasn't let go of his bad boy, roughneck, whatever ways, and he still treats you the same way the unsaved bad boy, roughnecks, whatever, treated you before, because he's still a roughneck.
Amen.
You understand what I'm saying? And so we keep digging the same wells, and we keep wondering why this water is the same water that we were getting before, because we keep dealing. So notice what it says here. It says that Isaac, he redug the wells of his father. But then in verse 19 it says he started, what is it? Verse 18, he started digging some new wells. "And Isaac dug again the wells of water which had been dug in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up." Verse 19 says, and also Isaac's servants dug in the valley and found a well of running water there. So now he begins to dig new wells. But the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, "The water is ours." So now watch this. So he called the name of that well Esek. Now this well, the word Esek, means to quarrel. So this first well then becomes what he calls the well of quarreling. And there are some people that love to quarrel, or they love to argue. Have you ever been around somebody that just loves to argue? And have you ever, now some of you all have been in relationships with people who love to argue, right? And you keep finding people who love to argue. You ever found some, you just got through this person that loves to argue, now sometimes it's you that loves to argue. Because if you keep finding people all the time that love to argue, maybe it's you that love to argue. Somebody one time told me, we were talking and they were saying something about, you just can't get along, you got to argue with me all the time. And I said, well, I don't have arguments with everybody else. And I can talk to other people, plain, calmly, intelligently. So maybe the problem is with you, because you argue with everybody.
Amen.
See, that just means you argue with everybody. You don't have a friend. No, come on. You can't keep a friend. Can't keep a friend or a job. You got a problem. Because you think that everybody has to bow down to your way of thinking. And everybody's not going to bow down to your way of thinking.
Amen.
All right? So anyway, so the second one, it says in verse 20, but the herdsman of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsman, saying, the waters are, so he called it Esek, because they quarreled with him. Verse 21, then they dug another well, and they quarreled over that one also. So he called the name of that one Sitnah. Now Sitnah, anybody remember what we said it meant last week? It meant enmity or what? Hostility. So it was a well of hostility. So some people are just hostile all the time. Got it? Now, where do we get this thing? Go with me to John's Gospel, chapter 4. So where do we get this that every human being is a well? Now, I don't know what every human being is full of. In fact, there's a scripture over in Jeremiah that talks about people who are wells of iniquity and who are wells of evilness. So some people you meet, they are a well of evil. Wow. In fact, the word says that they well up with evil. They actually well up with evil. All right? So what are you welled up with? And what are the people that you're coming into relationship welled up with? Now, come back to John chapter 4. And then we're going to go back to Genesis, and then we'll pick up what we've been teaching. Now, John chapter 4, and this is where we get this concept from. In verse 4, this is one of the most popular, soul-winning verses of Scripture in the Bible. It says here in verse 4, but Jesus needed to go through Samaria. So he came to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near the plot of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. So watch this. This is still all in that same area. Abraham, what? Isaac, and what? Jacob. All right? Now Jacob's what? Well was there. All right? And so it says, Jesus therefore being tired from his journey, sat thus by the what? The well. It was about the 6th hour. A woman, now so here is a natural well, right? A natural physical well. A woman of Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, give me a drink. For his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. Then the woman of Samaria said to him, how is it that you being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. There was separatism going on there, division, racism, bigotry, whatever term you want to use. And Jesus answered and said, I'm not a bigot. No, that's not what he said. Jesus answered and said to her, if you knew the gift of God and who it was or who it is who says to you, give me a drink. Now watch this. If you knew who I, in other words, Jesus said, if you really knew who I am, if you knew who I was or who I am, you would have asked him or you would have asked me, and he would have, I don't know why Jesus spoke about himself in the third person here, but you would have asked him and he would have given you what? Living water. Say living water.
Living water.
So there is a difference between the natural water and what? Living water. The woman said to him, sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. See, watch it. She keeps returning to the natural. She's not catching the spiritual. Where then do you get the living water? So she's thinking living water is running water, but he's not talking about running water, even though running water could be considered living water, but he's talking about something spiritual.
Amen.
Verse 12, are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as well as his sons and his livestock? So now here's something, I think I may have pointed this out to you. A well, two things about a well. Number one, a well back then took care of all their needs. It took care of their drinking needs. It took care of their bathing needs. It took care of their cleaning needs. It took care of their livestock needs. It took care of watering their plants. I mean, you name it, the well took care of everything. Now, the reason why that's significant is because a well provides so much in our lives that we think that a well is permanent. But a well isn't permanent. And we're going to get to this in a minute. A well has to be watered on for it to continue in your life.
Yes.
Got it? So a well isn't permanent. Now, here's the other thing about a well. And this is just, if you just think about it, this is just common sense. A well can provide for you what you can't provide for yourself.
Amen.
All right? So, watch this. So when you're in a relationship, you have to understand, as you being a well, and the person that you're in a relationship as being a well, that they are there to provide something for you, and you are there to provide something for them that they couldn't provide for themselves, or that you can't provide for yourself.
Amen.
Got it?
Yes.
Now, verse 13. Jesus answered and said to her, whoever drinks of this water or from this well will thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him. So now Jesus is saying this water will become in him.
Yes.
So there's some water in you.
Amen.
Remember the Bible says in John 7:38, out of your belly will flow rivers of living water.
Yes.
Now here Jesus, now watch this. Jesus now is talking about a well, but later on he talks about a river of living water. But they're both living water. Now, the Bible says in John 7 about the living water, but this spake he of the Spirit. So the living water is the nature and the power and the presence and the goodness and all the stuff that comes from the Spirit of God.
Amen.
So what Jesus is saying is, I'm going to give you the Spirit of God. And the Spirit of God that's in you is going to be like a well.
Yes.
But now that well, when you receive the fullness of the Holy Spirit, becomes a river. I'm not going to deal with the river today. I only want to deal with the well.
Amen.
But you have to understand that the well of water is living water.
Yes.
And the river is living water. What's the difference? The well of water is really personal. It's for your family's needs. Got it? But if you if you have a well, the well is going to pretty much take care of you, your family, your household, the people in your immediate vicinity that you're in relationship with, right? But the river, if you know anything about a river will take care of a whole community.
Yes.
Or a river can spread, like the Colorado River. I don't want to go to the river, but the Colorado River takes care. I mean, it just flows and flows and flows and flows. And so many people drink from the Colorado River.
Amen.
Not just a local, even vicinity, but it just keeps on flowing. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so one is really more for ministry. The river. The well is for interpersonal relationships.
Amen.
It's for you to drink from, but it's for those that are around you in your interpersonal relationships to drink from.
Wow.
Well, that's better teaching than y'all saying it again.
Amen.
But the waters that I shall give him will become in him. Say in him.
In him.
A fountain of water springing up into everlasting life. So he's talking about salvation, the new birth, the Holy Spirit, all of those spiritual things of the kingdom. Got it? The woman said to him, sir, give me this water that I might not thirst, nor come here to draw. Jesus said to her, see, this is how we bring all of this together. Jesus, so now we're talking about water. We're talking about wells, right? So how did this relate? Jesus said, listen. Jesus said, I will give you this living water. This water will become in you a fountain. I am the supply of living water.
Yeah.
I'm the source of it. So watch this. Watch this. If Jesus was the source and the supply of living water, then he was a well.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
He was a well.
Yeah.
And he said, everybody, and now I'm going to add a little bit to this. Everybody that comes and drinks of this water will also become a living well, of living water.
Wow. Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now you're going to get this in a minute. The woman said to him, sir, I perceive, verse 17. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Jesus said to her, you have well, now this is not that same kind of well. You have well said, I have no husband. For you have had 5 husbands. Now here's just a little side thought. If Jesus said you have had 5 husbands, then she had 5 husbands. Now why am I saying that? Because some people say, well, only the first person that you married to is your husband. No, Jesus said you had 5 husbands. So he recognized husband number 1, husband number 2, husband number 3, husband number 4, husband number 5.
Amen.
I'm just saying, God, I've heard religious people say, well, God doesn't recognize but the first marriage. No, Jesus just said you had 5.
Amen.
Now, he didn't say you should have 5. He didn't say you should have 3 or 2. I mean, he would prefer you have 1.
Right.
But the first one didn't work out. So she got another one. He didn't work out. She got another one. He didn't work out. She got another. Maybe somebody died. Who knows? But things didn't work out. But Jesus said you had 5. Now, here's the second thing. He said, you're right. You have had 5 husbands, and the man that you're living with right now is not your husband, which means if you're shacking, it don't mean you're married.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Got it? So Jesus understands the difference between husband number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and shacking.
Yes. Amen.
Say shacking.
Shacking.
Say common law. Anyway, all right, I'll leave that one. So he said here, he says here, verse 18, for you have had 5 husbands, and the one whom you now have is not your husband. Y'all just living together? Y'all just shacking? Verse 19, the woman said to him, sir, I perceive you are a prophet. And then she goes on to talk about all this. Now, here's what I want you to see about this, though. Here's the interesting thing about this. So Jesus is telling her, listen, baby. Listen, baby girl. You are thirsty.
Pretty much.
He said, baby girl, you thirsty? You done have 5 different husbands, and the man that you're living with is not your husband. You got to be a thirsty chick to be married 5 times, and now you shacked up with somebody else.
Super thirsty.
Huh? She had 4 or 5 failed marriages. Why? Number 1, she's digging or drinking from the wrong wells.
Come on.
She keeps drinking. She gotta have a roughneck. Gotta have a roughneck, and each roughneck keep treating her the same way. It starts out good, but he's not the right kind of well. So Jesus is saying, listen, your first priority is you need to come to me. You need to come to me because I am the fountain, the source, the supply of living water.
Amen.
The reason, watch this, the reason why you thirsty, girl, is because you don't have a relationship with me.
Amen.
All thirsty women and men, but all thirsty women, your thirst is because you're looking for the wrong kind of well to quench your thirst.
Amen.
Jesus said, let me be your thirst quencher. Let me quench your thirst. Get into a relationship with me. Now watch this. Drink from me until this living water becomes in you a fountain of living water.
Amen.
No, Don't just taste, but drink long enough until you're full of me.
Yeah.
Until you're so full of me, you move from a well to a fountain.
Amen.
Watch this. A well, you have to drop your bucket to get the water out of the well. But a fountain springs up.
Yes.
He said, drink from me not only until you become a well, but drink from me until you become a fountain. And a fountain of living water. So listen to me. In our relationship, what really needs to happen is we need to work on becoming a well and a fountain ourselves of living water first.
Amen.
We're always trying to be critical or focus in on this one or that or the other, but it will just become a fountain. It will become a fountain of living water. We won't be thirsty, so we won't be chasing after the well of quarrelsomeness or the well of hostility.
Yeah.
Remember the other well that we dealt with last week was the well of Mara or the well of bitterness.
Yes.
And then we began to deal with, how do we know if we're dealing with people who are wells of bitterness? Well, one of the things we found out is that they have an oppressed mindset. We're not going to go back and deal with that. We have it on CD, but we don't have it on video. So, but we dealt with that. They have an oppressed mindset. Anytime you've been through some hard times, a lot of things, I mean, you can go from like the children of Israel were in slavery. And so because they were in bondage and slavery, they had an oppressed mindset. Their oppressed mindset always caused them to look back to their past rather than to look to the future.
Amen.
Their oppressed mindset had pains and emotional turmoil that they have never dealt with, that now, when they come into this new relationship, they feel like whoever they are in a new relationship, it is their responsibility. They are called and anointed by God. They have been ordained by God to fix everything that was wrong with them from their past. Every disappointment that they ever had, it is now the responsibility of this new person to take care of it and fix it. That's the oppressed mindset. And an oppressed mindset then can lead to an entitlement mentality.
Amen.
And an entitlement mentality here, so it's so challenging that the Bible calls an entitled mentality a wicked mentality. Go to 3 John. Are y'all getting anything out of this, or am I just talking?
Get something out of it, Pastor.
You're getting something out of it. Oh, yeah. Amen. See, we really need to work on ourselves.
Amen.
Look here at 3 John, the third epistle of John. It's just one chapter. It says here in verse 9, I wrote to the church, but Diotrephes, now watch this, who loves to have the preeminence among them. In other words, he has an entitlement mentality. Got it? Does not receive us. Therefore, if I come, I will call to mind his deeds, which he does. Now watch this. Prating against us, and we dealt with this a little bit, or we dealt with this last week. The person who has this entitlement mentality and an oppressed mindset, notice what he said. They prat against you with what? Malicious words. So what it means is that they begin to tear you down with their words. Have you ever met somebody who every time something goes wrong, they start attacking you? Huh? They start criticizing you. They start trying to tear you down, make you feel less than. That's the person with an oppressed mindset that has moved over into an entitlement mentality. And many times the person with an entitlement mentality have the mentality that, listen, you got to do this for me just because I'm your wife. Well, I'm your wife. So, ugly. Do you act like a wife? Well, I'm your husband. I'm the head of the house. Okay, caveman. You understand what I'm saying? See, listen to me. Or they have this mentality. Well, just because I'm here, I don't have to do anything. Okay, you hear people, they don't even have to be in a relationship. You hear people all the time that say, you just have to love me for me. What if you're ugly? No, I'm not talking about physically ugly. What if you're a nasty, intolerable, insufferable fool? I didn't say you were, I said, what if you were? Or you mean and bitter and grouchy and angry? Or you selfish? have to love you for you? Why don't you have to become a better person?
Amen.
Why don't you have to change?
Amen.
Or you're a spoiled brat. Why don't you have to grow up?
Amen.
Or you're just self-centered and you think the whole world revolves around you, or you think the world owes you something. The world don't owe you a cotton-picking thing.
Amen. Amen.
Only thing Christians owe you is to love you, but they don't even have to be around you. I can love you from way over here, baby. Oh, I love you. I'm praying for you, but I don't want to be around you. You understand what I'm saying? But people with this entitlement mentality, it's almost like just because I was born and I suck up air, everybody's supposed to accept me just the way I am, but yet you a nasty, ugly, hard to get along person. You know, even just friends, the Bible says if you want to have friends, you must first what? Show yourself friendly. We ain't even talking about a lover. Huh? We're just talking about a friend.
Amen.
You know anybody that ain't got a friend? Or if they get a friend, you know, y'all know what Anna is, huh? That's from Tennessee. Anyway, they ain't got a friend. Or they get a friend and they can't keep a friend. You know anybody like that?
Amen.
They get a friend and then they can't keep a friend. You know why? Because they are not friendly themselves.
Yeah.
Or they never can get a friend and they're always waiting for somebody to befriend them, but they're always standing over here isolated by themselves, judging people and critical of everybody and everyone, and so they don't have any friends.
Amen.
I got friends that go all the way back to childhood. I got friends that go all the way to middle school. I got friends for the last 30 or 40 years. Now, I don't have a lot of friends because I don't like a lot. I don't have a lot of friends because I don't really deal with people who are not trustworthy, to be honest with you. But I have long friendships.
Amen.
I mean, long, enduring friendships. But then you meet people, they don't have any friends. And they always complaining about, I don't have a friend. Now listen to me. Don't misunderstand me. You should not sacrifice who you are, your morals, your character, and those types of things to just, to be friends with some fool.
Amen.
Or be friends with some corrupt companions. What is the scripture? Corrupt companions or corrupt associates, corrupt good morals.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get with and be associated with or have companionship with people who have bad morals that will corrupt your morals. That's not what we're talking about. But you got to be friendly. You can't be critical and judgmental of people all the time.
Right.
Okay, well, anyway, all right. That's enough of that. And so what's what he said? With malicious words, not content therewith, neither doth he himself receive the brethren and forbiddeth them that they would and casteth them out of church. Now watch what he says in verse 11. Beloved, follow not that which is evil. So an entitlement mentality or an entitlement mindset is really evil.
Amen.
But most people who have this mindset don't realize how evil they are.
Yeah.
Boy, oh
Yeah.
boy. Huh? Are y'all getting anything out of that?
Yeah.
All right. So let's kind of deal with this a little bit more. An entitlement person feels like they are doing whatever you do for them simply because they are who they are. Now watch this. Without them doing anything to reciprocate or at least show their appreciation. You know anybody like that?
Yes.
If you don't, maybe that's you. Okay, I'll leave that one. No matter what you do for them, they can only focus on something negative in what you've done. They're actually jealous of you. These kinds of people, I was telling my niece one time. She kept telling me, this was a girlfriend of hers, and I kept telling her one time, she's not your friend. Oh yeah, she's my friend. I said, no, she's not your friend. We kept going, and then things started coming out, and whatever. And my niece was so hurt. I said, I don't know what you hurt for. I told you a long time ago, she's not your friend. Because she was jealous of her. I could see the jealousy. I'm not going to say who the person is, that ain't none of your business. But I could see the jealousy because they wanted to be where my niece was, but they couldn't move to that level, and they knew they should have been at that level, and they saw my niece get to that level by herself, with a little help from my sister, but get to that level by herself, and yet she couldn't even get to that level with her husband. So she was jealous. And so she would do things. She would say little things. And then eventually it all came out. Because my niece has a very forgiving manner about herself. Now, this jealousy intensifies, especially, and this would happen in this situation. This wasn't a relational situation. This wasn't a boyfriend girl. This was a friend. It intensifies when you begin to take care of them. It doesn't matter whether you're taking care of them as a husband, a wife, husband, or whatever. Or sometimes you get married. There's a married, and then the husband is off from work. He gets laid off, fired, or whatever, and then all of a sudden he begins to get jealous. Well, he's jealous because he knows that he should be doing more. He knows he should be doing better, and so now he's mad at you, and he's got to find something wrong with everything you do to try to make himself feel justified. Women do the same thing. You ever been around anybody like that? They're jealous of you.
Amen.
Amen. So they criticize you to make them feel like they're as good as you. Now here's another thing. An entitlement people will ask you, we got into this last week. Entitlement people feel like they have a right to what you produce. They feel like they have a claim on the fruit of your labors. Remember we said they already know when you get paid. They ask you to borrow money and say you got paid Friday. How come you don't have no money to loan me? Huh? Let's move on to something else. All right, let's get into, remember we said a well is permanent? Let's get into some things. We think a well is permanent, but it's not. Let's get into some things that will destroy your well, or that will kill your well, or dry your well up. Y'all ready? I'm going to give you 8 things. Number 1, listen to me, lack of expressing appreciation. Now, I'm highlighting the word expressing appreciation. Because what happens a lot of times with people, see, remember what I said? Remember what I said about a well? A well needs to be rained on. Now we know a natural well receives the natural waters from heaven, but you've got to rain on your own well.
Amen.
Oh, see, you got to maintain and rain on your well in a relationship, in a husband and wife, in a marital relationship. You got to rain on that well.
Amen.
So now what I said, a lack of expressing appreciation. Because sometimes a person might say, well, yeah, if they get pushed or they get forced or when the thing is over, they'll say, yeah, I did appreciate it. But did you ever express or did you regularly express appreciation? Acting like you are owed the water in the well will cause your well to dry up. In other words, you don't express appreciation, you just act like you owed it. Okay? Number two, or the second thing that will cause your well to dry up is love without caring. Love without caring. If you love me, treat me like you care. Y'all don't hear me. See, I feel love for them. But if you love me, treat me like you care.
Amen.
Now, in terms of treating me like you care, you got to find out what makes me feel cared for.
Amen.
I got to find out what makes you feel cared for.
Yeah.
And this right here, we're going to deal with this a little bit later, but this kind of gets into love languages. And we're going to deal with this in the rest of the series. We're going to deal with love languages. And I've been guilty of this in the past myself. And we've all been guilty of this. I'm in a relationship with someone, and I do something for them out of extreme love and care. You ever done that for somebody? And when you did it, they looked at you like you just stepped in boo-boo. Y'all don't know, anybody ever done something you thought was extremely loving and caring, and the person looked at you like, what is that? And so then, from your standpoint, yeah, I said step and move. From your standpoint, you really feel put off about that. And you feel a certain level of rejection and dejection. Anybody ever felt that way? But as I've matured, as I've wisened up, as I've grown to become more astute and learned, what I found was it wasn't their problem, it was my problem. See, some of y'all can't deal with that. It wasn't their problem that they looked at you that way. It was your problem because you didn't find out in the first place what made them feel like they were cared for. You can't care for me until you find out what makes me feel cared for. Y'all not hearing me, see? You're not hearing me. Listen. You can give me, I don't know. You know, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something, but you can give me a certain thing and make that, you can do a certain thing for me. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. A man thinks that he's caring for his wife, he's out there cutting the grass. He's cutting the grass, and he's taking care of the car, and he's doing that, and whatever. And he thinks he's really showing his care. And she's sitting over there saying, yeah, but baby, if you really care for me, why don't you wash these dishes? Why don't you run a vacuum? Amen. Why don't you take me out to dinner? See, all of those things are different. Why don't you surprise me with something? Or why don't you fix this falling apart house? I mean, I'm just saying, see what makes one woman feel cared for, another woman, it may not make another woman feel cared for. But if you're determined, you're going, look, I'm showing you that I care for you because I'm doing it. Listen, what's wrong with you, woman? You with your unappreciative self. Well, maybe she's not unappreciative. Maybe, just maybe, you're not finding out what she needs. Amen. Or, it could be, it could be a woman, she likes to give little gifts. Always giving little gifts. You know anybody like that? She likes to give little gifts. Give little gifts. Give little gifts. Well, like for example, you can't buy me cheap stuff. And I don't mean the dollar amount. That's not what I'm talking about. You cannot buy me, you can't buy me no brew. Y'all don't know, see, y'all don't even know what Brut is, huh? Brut is cologne or Old Spice. I don't know if Old Spice is cheap, but you can't buy me no Brut. Or that hammer spray that you spray on that, whatever, you can't, you got, so if you buy me something like that and you think you really did something for me, you ain't done squat for me. You can't, I don't even know if they have these shoes anymore. But what they used to have, those Tom McCanns? You go out and say, come back, what size shoes you wear, honey? Well, I wear a size 12. You know, whatever, okay, blah, 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 blah. And you come back with a pair of Tom McCann shoes. I know I'm dating myself. But you come back with a pair of Tom, man, those shoes will make your dogs bark. You can't be in a pair of Tom McCann shoes more than an hour with the side of your foot start burning and all of that. Listen to me. I don't wear anything but good shoes. I'm sorry. I do not wear cheap shoes. Amen. And my feet show. I got pretty feet. How beautiful are the feet of them? You know, I mean, but I don't have calluses on my feet. I don't have corns on my feet. You don't. I get pedicured. You don't have to scrape nothing off my feet. You don't have to pull out that little thing. You don't have to do any of that stuff to my feet. I mean, I sit in there and get my feet done, and the lady be saying, man, your feet are nicer than a lot of women that come in here. Yeah, because I take care of my feet. Amen. Okay, well, whatever. I'm just trying to show you that I don't like cheap stuff. When I was a little kid, Jan can verify this, I wouldn't even let Jan take me shopping because she took care of the girl. And then she wanted to just get me something from Zodi's or something or whatever. Man, I was a fat boy. I couldn't wear no Zodi's clothes. I'd be busted out of them in about a week. Yeah, because Zodi's clothes was cheap.
Yes,
They was cheap. A little girl might be able to have, but me, man, I was playing marbles and basketball and football. And, oh man, he done just told that thing. So don't take me shopping. So my aunt, for school clothes, she would have to take me to Montgomery Ward's, and buy the Husky Tough Skins. You know about Tough Skins. I know you wore Tough Skins. Do you understand? Because you know the difference between Zodi's clothes and Tough Skins, right? Oh, you never had Zodi. All right. But I couldn't wear that stuff. On Easter. Easter shopping, I would go shopping with my sister Jolene. And she would take me places. We were looking at this stuff. And man, anything, I never knew what the price was, but I always knew cheap just looking at it. So Jolene would be like, man, that boy, you got expensive taste and you broke, boy. So my mother didn't have a lot of money. She would give Jolene a little bit of money to go take me Easter shopping. And if Jolene was trying to stay within the budget, I always broke the budget. I said, well, forget it. I ain't going to church. I ain't been to church all year anyway. I ain't going to church on Easter. So Jolene would inevitably have to take me back to that place and go into her own pocket to get me what I wanted. Because I always wanted more than what my mother tried to give her the money for the suit and the shoes and the shirt and the socks and shoot, man, my suit costs more than all of that. And it's not because I just want to have something that's expensive. I shouldn't use the word cheap. It's just got to be quality.
Amen.
I would rather go without until I can get the quality that I want than to buy something that I don't want.
Amen.
Okay, well, whatever. So if you're trying to care for me, you need to understand that. You understand what I'm saying? You need to understand that. Okay, well, y'all not trying to care for me. Okay. Okay, here's another one that will kill it. Jealousy of the provider will dry up your well. Listen, don't be so crazy that you're jealous of the blessing that God sent to you.
Amen.
Jealousy is being attracted to something and then you get in a negative attitude toward that person because they have some kind of a personable attribute. I'll give you an example. So, you get attracted to a person who's very personal. People just like that person. Everybody seems to like him. And you like him too. So now you get into a relationship with them, right? Listen to me, follow me. You get into a relationship with them. But now after you're in a relationship or even after you're married, now you're jealous because more people like them than like you. You ever met anybody like that or been around? Well, why everybody like you? You ain't so special. If they knew you like I knew you, they wouldn't like you like they like you. You ever been around anybody like that? All right? Anyway. All right, here's another one. Treating a person like a slave rather than a friend. What? Well, remember Jesus told his disciples one time that he began to share with them what was going on and what was getting ready to happen. And then he said, I'm doing this because I call you friends. You're no longer servants. Well, in the Greek, the word servant there is slave. You're no longer a servant, but a friend. A friend pulls you into their thought processes. Listen to me. A friend pulls you into their thought processes. But a slave isn't someone that's really told anything that matters.
Amen.
Now, here, I'm going to give you an example. I've experienced this too. Wives, you just can't run up into a car lot and buy a car and come home with it and you ain't talk to your husband about it. You treat him like a slave. Because you didn't bring him into your thought processes.
Amen.
Huh? Men, you just can't go out and buy a set of golf clubs or electronic equipment and sneak it into the house. You know, women will sneak clothes into the house. buy clothes, sneak it into the house, put it up in the closet, take all the tags off, let it sit there for 3 months, pull it out, husband sees it, and he say, oh, that's new? No, I had this, I've been had this. I've been had this for months now. Yeah, but you've been hiding it for months. It's been inside another dress. You got that dress inside another dress inside of, y'all know what I'm saying. Or men will sneak and buy electronic equipment and try to do this, that, and the other, and they don't want their wives to know that they just spent $200 on another gadget or $500 or $300 or whatever, and they You treat them like a slave. You can't figure out why you got these problems because you're treating them like a slave.
Amen.
Not like a partner. Woo! Here's another one. Mean-spiritedness. Number 5. Mean-spiritedness. Mean-spiritedness. You just cuss and fuss and look mean all the time. Huh? That's number 5. Number 6. Number 6. I wish I had time to really get into this one. Projection. Or projecting. You know what projecting is?
Yeah.
Projecting is when you have a certain, when you're thinking a certain thing or you're feeling a certain thing, but you always putting it off on your spouse. For example, men do this. Oh, this one's gonna be tough. You think about cheating, but you ain't cheat yet. But you wish you could cheat with her, but you ain't cheat yet. And then you come home and you start an argument telling your wife she been disloyal. She cheated. That's called projecting. You ever been in a relationship with somebody, you ain't even thought about what you're doing, none along that line, and they start accusing you of stuff that ain't even in your mind? They're projecting. Wow. Y'all not hearing me. They're projecting. I'm trying to be careful and not say things, about personal situations that I know because it's on Facebook or whatever. But I've seen couples and different ones accuse their spouse of this or that or the other. Like you might say, it might be a blended situation. You don't like my kids. Well, maybe it's you don't like their kids. Huh? That's a good one right there. You don't like their kids, but because you don't like their kids, you feel like they don't like your kids.
Right.
They might love your kids, but you don't like that. That's called projecting. Ernest said flipping the script. All right. So, projecting keeps us from understanding the true source of our pain. Projection really, a lot of times, comes about because of unresolved issues from our past. It could be a childhood wound, it could be a disappointment, or something from a previous relationship. I can talk about a lot of things. I don't know how much time I got. All right. I don't know. I'm going to have to deal with projecting later. There's some things you can go study and learn about projecting. Can y'all do that? Just go learn about projecting. All right, number 7 is negative seed sowing. The only reason why I'm not teaching on it more is because I don't have enough time. Negative seed sowing. Say negative seed sowing.
Negative seed sowing.
Negative seed sowing and looking for a positive harvest. Here's the 8th one. Boy, this one is a killer. Agenda niceness. Agenda niceness. What does that mean? I'm nice when I need something. I'm nice when I need you to do something. You ever met somebody, now how do you know if you're dealing with a person with agenda niceness? If you're ever dealing with a person that whenever they're nice to you, you automatically think, I wonder what he or she wants. You ever been around somebody that as soon as they start trying to treat you nice, you got to think,
What they want.
I I wonder what they want. That's a person. And that kind of agenda niceness will dry up your well. Okay, let me give you 8 things that will add water to your well. Y'all ready? Number 1, emotional and natural honesty. You got to be honest. You got to be honest in the natural, but you got to be honest, you know, just not tell a lie. But you got to be honest emotionally.
Amen.
And here's another area of this. You can't use my love against me. You know I love you. No, listen to me. You know I love you. You know I love you. You know I'll do anything for you. And you take advantage of my love. No, yeah. Whew, sometimes it's the man, sometimes it's the woman. Sometimes the man is so head over heels, man, he'll just do anything for her. And she knows it. So she'll manipulate. Sometimes it's reversed. Don't take advantage of the weakness that I have for you. No, that's still under emotional and natural honesty. All right, here's number 2. Proper communications. We all need to be better in communication. And I'm going to deal with this for a second, but let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how you think and why you think it.
Amen.
You know, people don't realize this about me. They think because I'm a pastor and I'm a teacher and this and that and the other teacher, they think I talk a lot. I really don't. Now, when I was a kid, I talked a lot, and I talk a lot about maybe sports or things like that. But I'm really not a big talker. And so I'm learning to open up and share more. Now, I'm not just talking about general things, but about how I feel.
Amen.
And that's what I should say, more than not a talker, because I can't talk. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not a big talker about my feelings. I didn't understand. You remember Andrea that used to be our keyboardist? He used to say, man, you never talk about your experiences or your feelings or things. And so I didn't realize it, but what he was saying to me, I said, man, I ain't here to talk about my feelings. I'm here to tell you what the word says. And he would say that every now and then, and we were kind of at odds on that issue. And then somebody started calling me impervious. And I didn't know what they were saying, and eventually I started looking inward and began to realize I don't share a lot about how I feel. Because I walk by faith and not by sight. And that's hard for people who walk by sight and feelings to understand. I walk by faith and not by sight. Amen. But sometimes there are people around you that need to know how you feel.
Amen.
Amen.
Not everybody needs to know how you feel, but the people close to you need to know how you feel.
Amen.
I said the people close to you need to know how you feel.
Amen.
Listen to me. Mystery breeds insecurity.
Yes, it does.
But predictability breeds security. Mystery breeds insecurity. Predictability breeds security. Are y'all getting anything out of this? Mm-hmm. Communication teaches me about you.
Amen.
Now, let's get into some specifics. So here you are, brothers. You stay out all day, and you don't even send a text. You ain't have time to send one text? Tell them where you are, what you're doing? You in a relationship? Huh? You don't lose your manhood just because you text or call or do whatever.
Amen.
I ain't got to tell you, no, I'm a man. I ain't got to ask your permission. Nobody said you had to ask their permission. But you're communicating, this is where I am. Now, some guys get to a point where they don't go nowhere, they sit around. But if you're one of the dudes that you're out and about and you're doing things and whatever, it ain't nothing wrong to say, hey, I'm going to the gym.
Amen.
Amen.
Hey, I'm with Roy over here. You know, blah, 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 blah. Why? Because now you're not, where you at? What what you doing? Who you with? Say my name, say my name. Acting kinda. Okay. All right? Here's the third one. Validation and celebration. So now watch this, watch this, watch this. Oh, let me say this about texting though. I just want to say this. If y'all mad at each other, don't text.
Man.
If you know, now this is for the younger people. If you're mad, don't text. Or not even the younger people. I mean, Ernest and Al, you know, people that age group too. Because man, it's so easy to draw the wrong inference from a text. I'm real bad about that. You know, it just looked like you was mad at me, or it just looked like, why you got an attitude? How you get an attitude from a text? Well, why you got an attitude from me? If they don't type it in all caps with exclamation point, they don't have an attitude. But okay, whatever. I'm just saying. That's the whole side of it. Validation and celebration. Say validation and celebration.
Validation and celebration.
If the whole world is celebrating the person that you love, don't just sit there and say nothing. You ever been around somebody or you've been in a relationship with somebody, everybody's saying how great they are, they're celebrating an achievement or whatever, and they just sit there and look stupid. Okay, well, all right. If you want to put water in the well, celebrate their every achievement.
Amen.
Number 4, reciprocation. Reciprocation. This is the 4th thing that will help you to water your well. Now, what do we mean by reciprocation? You don't have to bring the same thing to the table, but you have to bring something.
Amen.
Your presence alone is not enough. What is your contribution? Ladies, just don't bring your hair and your fine shape and figure. It's not enough.
Amen.
Men, don't just bring your knife, fork, and spoon to the table. It's not enough.
Amen.
Number 5, I think this is a repeat. Didn't I say appreciation up here? No, that was it. Okay, number 5, appreciation. Again, find out what that person needs to feel appreciated, and don't show your appreciation based on what they think. Number 6, sow positive seeds. Stop driving people away from you with negativity.
Amen.
Stop shifting the blame. Take responsibility for what you say and do. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Don't argue for 5 years with somebody over something that you know you're wrong about.
Amen.
Anybody know you just can't admit you're wrong. For 5 years, you've been knowing you're wrong, but you still won't admit you're wrong. So you keep on arguing about the same old thing. Wow. Okay, forget y'all. I know. All right. It doesn't really take much sense to be negative. It takes intelligence to be positive.
Amen.
Number 7. Accountability and responsibility. Oh, let me give you this under number 6. Stop trying to bend the world to your own will. Got it? And then number 7, be accountable and be responsible for what you do. And the last one is appreciation and care. Or loving care. I'm sorry, not appreciation and care, but loving care. We already talked a lot about that. If you'll do those 8 things, what'll happen? See, listen to me. Listen to me. You might be in a bad relationship, or you might be married and your well is drying up. But if you'll start doing those 8 things, both of you will start doing those 8 things, all of a sudden you begin to water her, she begins to water you. See, the problem that happens in a relationship is when one person feels like they're doing it all by themselves.
Amen.
Once you reach a point where you feel like you're doing it all by yourself, you shut down. And when you shut down, if you've been doing it all by yourself and the person was there with an entitlement mentality thinking that they're just supposed to get it just because they're your husband or because they're your wife, and then you shut down, now we got a problem. We have a problem. We have a problem because there was only a one-way exchange, a watering. Are you listening to me? But when you shut down, now the relationship is totally dry. You understand what I'm saying? So if you want things to begin to work, now even if you're the one that hasn't been watering, you got to start watering.
Amen.
You got to start watering with the hopes that the person who is now shut down on you. See, you can't go to the person who shut down on you and be mad because they shut down, and they're telling you they shut down because they feel like they're the only one doing it, and they also feel like nothing that I do makes you happy. Boy, it's one thing to feel like you're the only one doing it, and then it becomes a whole other thing when you start feeling like nothing. Listen to me in a relationship, if you ever hear those words come out of your significant other, spouse, whatever, these words that nothing, I can't satisfy you anyway, I can't please you anyway, nothing that I do satisfies you. If you ever hear that, listen, that's the death knell. They starting to play the death song in a relationship. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may take 3 years or whatever, but they've shut down. Now their mind is thinking about how to get out of this situation.
Amen.
Once you say, I can never please you, let me tell you what, that person now, and they just told you that, but they've been thinking that for months, or maybe even for a year or more. And their mind has already been plotting their exit or their escape. So you better hope they told you early enough for you to change your ways and start watering your situation, because if you don't and you love them and you appreciate them and you want them in your life, you're going to lose them and there ain't going to be nothing that you can do to get them back. And that concludes our service for the day.